thank you so much for speaking with me.
Oh, thanks for taking your time.
This episode we finally got to see more of you.
Right.
So first off the bat, I wanted to know, Lamar is always taking shots at Alvin, especially working at the mortuary. Is there something strange going on with the bodies between him and Alvin?
Listen, I'm going to leave an element of surprise, but I do say as disgusting as some people were, they wanted to probably see how far I would take it, And it was so funny because in that scene, it was like the original scene that introduced my character. It was a lot of improv that I did. I was like, how do you make this situation funny? You're in the morgue, right? And this is my first suggestion was because when the camera first comes in, there's like 5 seconds of silence, right? Where you don't know what's going on. And I wanted to, I started whistling. If you're happy, you know it, clap your hands, which I thought would have been so eerie and funny to see me whistling, if you're happy, you know it, clap your hands, in a room with all dead bodies. But it was, everybody laughed, they liked it, but it was some copyright issues. We didn't get to do that. But this guy has, someone asked me, Donnell, why is it that you are the only person that Lamar can really talk to, whatever? I was like, because you can't pick your family, and even true to this story with Meech and his brother is that they went toe-to-toe with each other all the time to a point where, they was going to kill each other. And I'm pretty sure, well, I'm not pretty sure, the only thing that kept them from doing it was the values that they always pushed with family. And with that said, you can't pick your family. You don't have to agree with the things that your family members do, but some kind of way, you kind of in a weird way, slightly supportive of what they do. Why did you do that? That's my cousin, cuz. You know what I'm saying? Even situation, my young son, he's 7, and his older cousin's 2 years older than him. And they go around and his name is Bryce. If you say anything against Bryce could argue with my son all he wants, right? Let somebody else say anything about him, and that little 9-year-old is going to do a bid. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's me in this situation. Lamar doesn't like anybody. He forced to like me. I'm forced to like him. And with that said, this character, I'm not a street guy, but I do know the street code. I'm around it. So, unfortunately, I'm not choosing that life. I might talk to you about what you're going to do. And then if he would have been like, Alvin, come on, let's go. I'd be like, nah, I'm going to stay here, man, and dress these bodies up. You go ahead and do the killing stuff and bring them to me, and then I'll hit you off, But it's definitely a role that gets to show, my range as a comedic actor and as a serious actor. And even though people always, some people aren't never satisfied. They're like, yeah, man, people be like this. They need to let you talk more. And they'd be like, why? Because I'm interested. Well, if you're interested, all you got to do is watch more. Whether they give me 1 or 2 lines, the fact that I'm able to be a part of this show is going to go down in history. Right. This show is going to go down in history the same way HBO's The Corner did, the same way HBO's The Wire did, the same way Chappelle's show did. This show is the show. This is the Wire of this generation, hands down. Right. So for me to be a part of that, I just been lucky enough. I don't act a lot, but when I do, it's always a part of something oh yeah, I do remember that. That was history. That was some great storytelling and everything. So I'm excited to be a part of this family, to go from one episode, which really you couldn't tell if I was gonna come back, to almost 99% of the season. I feel blessed, and obviously I'm doing something right.
Right, and you do. And so I kind of wanted to touch on Alvin's relationship with Lamar. I wanted to know, it's respect first, but is it also out of fear or loyalty? Or is that loyalty also out of fear?
Well, it's a sense of fear, but at the same time, no matter how mad he get at, because he's my cousin, I never feel like it's going to be it for me. I feel like the most thing he do, he might beat me up or rough handle me, but I feel like, even that he's a pull a trigger guy. I believe that he can't be that cold-blooded, where, the person is trying to help, because the bottom line is he's not happy with the world at all. But I'm the only person that's trying to help. I'm the only person that's not snitching. I'm the only person not telling where you can find him. So with that, there is a certain amount of love, but the love is not for the street code, it's the love for blood. I think it's a love for family. And I think that, again, that's what the BMF movement, everything was all about. It was family first. And no matter how upset we get with each other, we both understand that it's family first.
With that association with Lamar, was there any kind of fear that you could be killed off by association?
No,
Did
I
that
didn't.
happen?
No, I didn't. I didn't really get that part because I felt like, one of the reasons people won't step to me because they know that's my cousin. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not involved with the street like that, but it is something. Every hood has the character that I play, a mortician he's swagged up, you know what I'm saying? He's living the same lifestyle. He's got the women, he's popping the bottles, whatever, but he's not in danger of going to jail. And I think that, they did a good job of just showing like, now Lamar's not crazy about me and I'm not crazy about him. But, the thing that I keep saying is, but the thing that keeps us together is family. And at the same time, I'm afraid of him, but not afraid of him at the same time.
Mm.
And not being afraid is not because I think I'm a gangster, it's because like, we used to go to family reunions together. You know what I mean? Remember when we was little, you know,
Mhm.
and if that can save you from doing to me what you do to anybody in the streets, then that's what I'm going to ride with.
Right. Now, there was an interesting conversation between Lamar and Terry at the time where it explained the Joker and Batman reference. And I
Right.
wanted to know from Alvin's point of view, does he view Lamar as the villain or the anti-hero?
I think he's part of both. You know what I'm saying? He's
Mhm.
retaliating against something. You know what I mean? It's something like it's just an execution, but it's just something that makes him want to get at these people. And and you got to realize this is my cousin. I grew up with him, whatever. So I'm going to side with him more so than I side with the other side. But also know that at the end of the day, like it's just like, at the end of the day, I know that it's not going to end well. And if any person knows it's not going to end well, it's a person that's up there making those bodies up. It's a person that see death every day. You know what I mean? I'm saying people that you rivaling against, whatever, they coming to me, but I look at it different. I'm like, I'm upset about it, but I guess at the same time, I'm making some money. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate, but I live for death. You know what I
Right.
mean? My lifestyle is because of death. So it's very interesting. And I think with it getting picked up, being BMF getting picked up for a third season, that if they bring my character back or whatever, that is so many layers of this character, so many different areas that it could go to. And even with my career as an actor now, I'm starting to get into more where I think people are going to start taking more chances with me, giving me more speaking parts, letting me be more of the arc of the story. And then I'll just continue just to try to get the most out of these opportunities that I can.
So, kind of speaking on that, what story or how do you see Alvin's story? Why do you think he got into the business that he did? Is it because he always saw death around him and he could make a profit, or was it something more?
I think for me, in this example I have in my life, I think that, the backstory of him, I think it's a family business. I think it was one of those things like my dad had this funeral home, you know what I mean? So, and this is all that I know. You know what I'm saying? And I also know, and I know people to this day that are in this business that are making millions of dollars. I think that he looks at it as something that's lucrative. I think that it's like like if you grew up in a funeral home and you just like you looking at dead body don't mean anything to you. You know what I mean? You conditioned to do that job. And I also realized that this job gave him the opportunity to live the big meech lifestyle, to live that hustler's lifestyle. And that's even with me to my life. A lot of people in my family came up in that BMF area. And I looked at all the things they had and all the fun they had. And I was like, I love that, but I don't like the chance of going to jail with that. So what can I do to live the same way they live and don't have the risk of going to jail, don't have the risk of being in anybody's courtroom or anything. So I think that he wanted the parallel lifestyles, but wasn't ready to take the chances of losing his life to death or incarceration. I think that he had the same street mentality as all the other ones, but he wants to do it the right way.
Right. Lucille gives a really wonderful speech basically saying that her children came from a broken, not from a broken home, but from a broken city. And so I was wondering, does Alvin feel that Lamar contributes to that broken city, or is it just circumstance?
No, I mean, it's a combination of both. It's like, this is what I know. I haven't traveled outside. That's why I always tell people it's important to have a passport. It's important to travel to see other things. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't know any better. So he's going to live the lifestyle that he knows, and the lifestyle he knows is different codes. Like some street codes that like normal people don't understand. Like what's important to people in the streets, not important to you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's there's different values. And if you grew up in this, that's what the toughest thing to do is get away. We're a product of our environment. The toughest thing to do is get away. And the toughest thing to do is get away and not come back. We have a situation where sometimes we're so connected to the street, like we get away, we get fame, we get fortune. And you've seen this even in hip hop, how many people that have created a successful lifestyle for themselves, they go back just to show that I'm still that person. And what happens? They get popped. You know, so, you know, again, I can't say how this character can develop, but it would be interesting to see more of Alvin's lifestyle, where he came from, and then where's he's going. But again, another thing, that Alvin is still a product of environment because he's still around them to help, because that's where his money is.
Mm. Do you, if Alvin was given an opportunity to get everyone's perspective, including Terry and Meech, would he be, not necessarily agree so much with Lamar, stand on his side, but would he be able to kind of talk Lamar kind of out of it and to see that maybe you should kind of move on from this situation, if there's bigger opportunities than just these two?
Yeah, but the thing is, what are those other opportunities? Like, where are you making your money? You're a street dude, you know what I'm saying? If it's a situation similar to what BMF was trying to do in real life, you know, they got drug money, but they're trying to do legit stuff. They got magazines, they got shows. If he saw something different, but who's going to show him that? And then even on the other side, even Alvin being in the middle of both of it, there's something to be if you're thinking like the business sense and everything, there's something to be appreciated on both sides. You know, like I'm rocking with my cousin, but at the same time, boy, they are doing a good job over there. Look at how they doing it. Look at what they're doing. They're doing without violence or whatever. Have you ever thought about this? No, we can't think about that because we want the same thing and we relatives. But I think that on both sides, he has respect for both sides of it. But at the end of the day, this is my blood. And who am I going to go with?
Right. Now, Alvin delivers a very motivating speech towards Lamar, who's very downtrodden when we see him. So I was wondering, what speech does Alvin give himself for the day?
I got to get away from this goddamn family before that's a speech. My speech is done. Let me go before y'all kill me. Enough is enough. I can't take this. I try. This is one scene where I try to be super gangster, you know what I'm saying? But I know at the end of the day, it ain't for me. And I'll tell you, and it's so funny because in my life when I was younger, I remember when I was I got out of the military, right? And I was waiting to be a DC police officer. And I had this place that I lived in DC, right? And some of my relatives used to come hang there, right? And I remember one day this is when I made my transition. I was like, I'm getting the hell out of here. I came to my apartment and it was steam coming out of that kitchen. It was pots bubbling and boiling. It was baking soda everywhere. I was like, oh yeah. I said, I'm out of here. Yo, I said, yo, where you go? I said, I'm going to New York. You can keep the apartment, you can keep the furniture, you can keep everything. I am not about this life. See ya. And hopefully Alvin can make that decision where he says, you know what, enough is enough. I got to get away from these people.
Well, kind of touching upon your almost police duties, I was wondering, do you see where Detective Brian, even though he is very excessive, is trying to do the right thing?
Yeah, everybody's trying to do the right thing. But just even with this story, this is the side that we see. Mm-hmm. We see the glamour, we see the parties, we see the women, we see the cars, we see the tons and tons of cocaine being sold. But what we don't see, and we turn away from it, is the destruction of it. You know what I'm saying? The destruction of it. Like, okay, how can you move this amount of cocaine in a city in this short period of time? Because there are a lot of fiends. There are a lot of people that's dealing with demons. Like what you don't see a lot, and none of these stories really tell that part because it's too dark, right? And it would make the hero the villain if you realize how this is destroying a community, right? How this is taking away family members, how it's taking away fathers, how it's doing a lot, because we only focus on the good part. But for every kilo of cocaine that is sold, there's a dope fiend. There's somebody that have to use that, and it's somebody that's not partying. There's somebody don't see that, okay, yeah, my son is in private school. You know, that's a side of it. And and it's a real side. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of excited for this, for me, well, for his son, because this is giving him an opportunity to live a certain lifestyle without the possibility of being jailed or anything. This is showing there's another way. And even with what he's doing now, this would be the best contribution to Big Meech's story in his life if his son creates an empire because of the platform that 50 gave him to do everything they wanted to do and keep their freedom. So that's a story within a story.
With that, your character Alvin is on the profit end of things. You benefit, sadly, from this entire drug downfall. And so I was wondering if given opportunity.
I'm sorry, you said if given, I didn't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, the last thing I heard you said with given the opportunity.
Yes, I was wondering if given the opportunity, would Alvin walk away from it all and settle within life of doing something else?
I think that he doesn't know anything else. You know what I'm saying? This is what I tell other people. Sometimes you get at one level and you just use the funds for that to support something else. I don't think that he could detach himself from that business, but I think that he could okay, I'm successful in my business. I think that, he has a possibility of being an entrepreneur. He has a possibility to use that money to create another lifestyle, to create another business. But I still think that the values that he got from the streets and the work ethics he has to the street, I think that can translate into another job or another profession. But I don't think he would ever be totally disconnected because it's still easy money for him.
Is it easy to say that this is kind of broken people helping broken people?
Yep. And hopefully you on the right side of it. It is. It's like, it's almost like in the hood, we make sacrifices for different lifestyles. Even what I was saying about the drug use, you could either say, yeah, but then it's not my responsibility to tell them to say no. You know what I'm saying? It's not my responsibility to say you shouldn't do this, so I just think it has to be an understanding on both sides. And then it's just a tough thing, man. Drugs in our community is just so awful. You have so many awful stories, but then you do get good stories. You do hear the stories of, yeah, I was a crack friend, I was a crack whore in these streets, I changed my life around. But how do we get, as humans, how do we get to a point where we don't want to do that? And then we also make a self-check and say, I want to change. Some people can get through that, some people can't. It's a strong person that does. But there are examples of getting through it, but we need more of them.
And I was wondering, as yourself, Donnell, what advice would you give Alvin if you could have a conversation?
Yo, I know that blood is blood, whatever, but at some point you have to be selfish and you got to do everything to make you happy. It's so often in life, we do everything to make everybody happy. People being in relationships with somebody that know the relationship is no good, but you stay in it because that person makes everybody else happy. We've been together so long, you know what I'm saying? And you're concerned with the other people's happy. Like, oh, I don't want to break with her because my mother likes her. My father, you concern yourself with other people's happiness more than your own. And sometimes you have to be selfish and say, I care about my happiness. I care about my mental health, and I'm going to do the best thing for me, and everything else will fall in place, hopefully.
Oh, wonderful. And so I was wondering, what do you see Alvin's, if you could have a chance of cracking open the script, how do you see Alvin's kind of end game? What is his goal?
I think it's end game is to change people's mindsets. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like his relationship with Lamar. Like Lamar's used to getting money a certain type of way, but I think the album could be like, what if we did this? What if we did this? Have you ever thought about this? I could be his motivator. Like, look, take that same mentality, that same, I'm going to take over the world, put that into something else. Can I help you with that transition? I think that would probably be the only motivator for him, or leading by example, or actually leaving.
Do you feel that Lamar we know that he's open to you, but is he open to others as well, just seeing something, nothing?
Nah, that's the only thing he know. And to be quite honest, I know people like that. I know, like, ex killers that like, and then it's so, if after a while, if that's all you know, that's all you do, it's hard to change because your demons, they feel like something is going to happen. You never feel safe. I don't know if he's at the point of no return, but I don't think that he thinks anything positive. That's just how he's built. Some people are built to do that.
How has your comedic background kind of influenced the creation of Alvin?
Well, I'll just say me personally, I'm not the type of comedy that's always on joke time. My stuff is usually like my personality is a serious guy with a funny undertone. So I think that, and like I have this phrase, I say a joke could be too soon, but it never could be too soon for a funny observation, which is like I could be talking about something serious, but hit you with a little punchline or something to just break the ice. That's kind of representative of my stand-up. And I try to bring that into when I create characters. I'm like, you know what? I want to be that serious. I want you to look at me like, damn, he is serious, but watch he say something stupid. And that's been the story of my life. I've been around some of the craziest moments. Like one of my friends, I called him, and the first thing I say is like, man, I ain't trying to be funny, man, but and he'd be like, don't do it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. But that's what I get. I'm like, it's serious, but there's a funny undertone in almost anything, especially if you have that mindset of making people laugh.
What would you say is his best and worst qualities in season 2?
His best qualities is trying to help. His worst qualities is helping.
Okay. Do you feel that it would be best if he was to step away from this entire situation and just let Lamar fend for himself?
Yeah, but then that's like almost, but that's a hard thing to do in family. Like if I'm not here, who's going to be here for him? You know what I'm saying? If I'm not here to stitch him up, who's going to be there for him? So that's a tough thing. And it goes down to how much do you want to love family to the point you say enough is enough. I think that's the thing that he's going to struggle with this season. I think that's how it's going to even moving forward. It'll probably be the same thing. I have people in my life, relatives, I'm like, man, I love them, but if they wouldn't call me, I still wouldn't be mad about it. You know what I mean? Like, I have people that's in my life, people that have done major bids that constantly come to me for some type of help. Like, I know you did a lot of time and I want to be there, but that is not making you a stronger person. If you don't see a bigger picture, I can't get, yes, I can. Can I afford to keep doing this? Yeah, but it don't feel good to my soul. I don't feel good doing this if you aren't making an effort. It is sometimes, it's unfortunate. Sometimes you got these people that do these bids that when they come out, whatever, they don't have an opportunity to get good jobs. Those are the consequences.
So if given the, sorry, did I cut you off? Okay. If given the opportunity, what actor or whose storyline would you love to be in with?
I would love to continue the story of Alvin. I mean, that's like, because again, I know people from that business, and it's like, it's a very, and especially in urban cities, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's probably one of the wealthiest jobs that you can have. I think that with this character, it's a lot of things that are left out about this guy, especially addressing like his feelings for dead body. This character could be Dexter. He could be Omar. It's so many things that he could be, but it'd be interesting. And I like it because Randy Huggins, he was like, this was one of his friends or his cousins that he connected with this character. So I love to sit down, hear some of his stories and see how we can expand on it, if that's even a thought. But, I don't like to get ahead of myself. I just look at it like, this has been a great opportunity for me. I keep myself as a young and say relevant. It's a very interesting story. So many people are connected with it. And again, I'm connected with history again.
Wonderful. And lastly, I was just wondering, if given the opportunity, what would you say that Alvin so far has given to you as a person, not the actor, but just the person?
That, you can try to do all the right things in life, all the best thing in life. But if you are associated with a certain element or certain people, it's just hard to move past that.
Thank you so much for speaking with me. I love the show and I love your performance.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your time.